What's up everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. If this is your first time here, my name's Tony. I own that Z over there, like drifting and doing other fun stuff with cars. Today's video is going to be the first of a series I'm dubbing The Basics, where I will dive into different topics of cars and things related and just cover the basics on it. Today, specifically, we're going to be covering the basics on how to prep your car for a track day. I last minute signed up for a track day that is Saturday. Today is Tuesday, so I've got 3 or 4 days to get ready. And while I'm not super far off, I still have a long list of things I gotta do. So I figured why not cover some of the important things to check, some things to do. That way you're not stressing for your first track day and you can go and have fun. Let's jump straight into it. All right, step one into getting your car ready for a track day is do anything and everything that you've been putting off. In my case, I have some wheels that needed tires. I also need to paint them. Well, I guess I don't need to, but I would like to. And the Z needs a valve cover gasket replaced that I have been putting off for way too long. So I pulled the wheels outside. I'm gonna clean them up and prep them for just a quick little spray paint job and then dive into that valve cover job. So we got some new tires on the 18x9s over there, and then these 18x9.5s have actually been on the car before, but the tires are still pretty much new. I would just like to get some paint on them, that way they match the other wheels on the car. And those I would like to paint, but if I don't have time, that's not a big deal. So, like I said, now's the time for you to do all that stuff that you've been putting off. In my case, it's this valve cover. Street driving it, it's really not an issue. It doesn't even leak. But the last track day, if you watched the video, you'll remember it leaked oil everywhere. Now, a lot of that was the dipstick, which I fixed, but I know the valve cover is still a problem. And while I could leave it, like I said, it's not a huge problem. I'd rather fix it and not have any issues at the track, because the last thing you want to do is be at the track and then all of a sudden, in my case, you've got an oil leak that's, leaking oil onto the headers, smoking, causing you concern. Fix it now. Get it done. Get it off your head. One less thing to worry about. One less thing to take you away from all that seat time you're going to get at the track. This is why I'm telling you, do the stuff you've been putting off. This valve cover leak was a bit worse than I thought. Check out how much oil is on this ignition coil. That's because the seal that goes around the top of the valve cover is not sealed properly or at all. So it's leaking extra oil down there, which could eventually get on to the coil or the spark plug or something and end up fouling it out, which we definitely don't want. So glad I'm fixing this now, because it definitely could have become an issue at the track. All right, a lot has happened since that last clip. I bought a new car. You won't see that for a little while, but it will be on the channel soon enough. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. But on top of that, the valve cover's done. And this thing should be good to go. I'm gonna fire it up, check for leaks, make sure that everything got put back together correctly, and then we'll move on. All right, everything seems okay. I didn't see any leaks or any issues or things that I forgot to hook up, so I think we're good there. And cross that off the list. It's a good segue into our next thing that we're gonna check, which is for leaks. A big thing you'll see at a lot of track days is they will do a tech inspection on your car. They will make sure there are no leaks, at least big, dangerous ones that could be a potential hazard to other drivers on the track. So if you do have an oil leak somewhere, make sure to address it prior to going to the track. The last thing you wanna do is show up and get turned away for failing tech because you have an oil leak or a coolant leak or something like that. Plus, you don't want to spin a rod because you left half your oil on the track. So we got the car jacked up. I'm gonna crawl under there, look for leaks. Now I know the car well enough because I kind of work on it periodically and drive it to work here and there that I know it's not leaking anything obvious, but you never know. It could have a small leak that maybe I haven't noticed yet. So it always pays to look. I'd rather take the time now than have some major issue come up at the track. Now that we know that we're not leaking any fluids, it's a good idea to check them and make sure they were there in the first place. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through and check all the fluids, at least the obvious ones, right? Engine oil, clutch fluid, brake fluid. Those are the big ones. Let's go ahead and make sure we have enough of those and they're all where they should be. Engine oil looks just about perfect. It's right between the low and the high, right where you want it. Got our clutch fluid there. You can see it's right on the middle. You see the fluid lines right there, which is right between the minimum and the maximum. Again, pretty good. And it's hard to tell behind there, but the brake fluid, that's the Brake Master reservoir, is the same thing. It's actually closer to the maximum than it is the minimum. I'd say we're good. Fluid check is done. That's a real simple one, but a very important one. You would hate to be out on track and lose brakes because you're out of fluid, or toast your motor because you ran out of oil. So something else to know about fluids is definitely bring extra. Bring some extra oil, bring some extra clutch fluid, bring some extra brake fluid if they're different. Sometimes they're the same. But you never know. If you remember the last track day when this thing had a pretty nasty oil leak, I topped it off, kept driving because I didn't want this thing to be a quart low and end up spinning a rod or doing some damage because of that. So much rather be safe than sorry. Carry around a little bit of extra fluids with you, bring it to the track. If you don't need it, no harm there.
Totally forgot to mention this, but also bring water. You just want to get like a gallon of distilled water. It's a great thing to put in your radiator if you do end up needing more coolant or more water.
Next thing to go over is a quick bolt check. That is exactly what it sounds like. We are just going to go through this car from the back to the front, bottom to top, check different bolts, especially for suspension components, brakes, wheels, the important stuff that will hurt you if they get loose and you lose a wheel or a suspension component. You don't want to do that. So we're just going to go through real quick and just make sure all the bolts that are important are tight. Now this bolt check should be super quick and simple. I'm literally just putting a wrench on things like this is a eccentric bolt that would adjust toe if it came loose. We don't want that. Okay, good, it's tight, not going anywhere. The other side of this, I've never touched it. It should be tight, and it is. This is another suspension link right here. Okay, it's tight. Another eccentric bolt over here that would adjust the alignment if it was loose. Make sure that's tight. Yep, nice and tight. That's it. I'm just going through the whole car doing exactly that. Shouldn't take too long at all. Well, it looks like we're ready for the track. We did all the work that we've been putting off for a while. Checked for any leaks and fixed them. Checked all the fluids, topped off anything that needed to be topped off, and did a full bolt check on the car, and we know it's solid. Now, one last thing that I'm gonna do, and I think you should, if you're daily driving your car, this might be a little harder, or maybe just do it a little differently, but I'm gonna put some stuff in the car that I know I wanna bring to the track, especially some things that I know I will forget. The last track day, I literally forgot to bring my helmet. I had to use a friend's until someone else brought me mine. That was annoying, so I'm gonna put my helmet in the car. I know I wanna bring a chair, and I totally forgot to bring a chair last time, so I'm gonna throw a chair in the car. Those fluids that I had mentioned, the oil, the brake fluid, clutch fluid, I'm gonna put that in the car so I don't forget it. The wheel lock key, that would be so annoying if I forgot it. I'm gonna put it in the car. Like I said, if you're daily driving your car and you don't wanna fill it with junk 3 or 4 or 5 days away from the track day, just start setting stuff aside. Make a little pile of things that you wanna bring to the track. As you think about them, just add it to the pile. That way, when it comes time to go to that track day, you have a whole pile of things, you can just load it up and go. You don't have to worry about it, because I guarantee you if you wait till the morning of, you will forget something. At least I know I do. So like I said, while I've got a couple things fresh on my head, I'm gonna toss them in the car. That way come the weekend, I am good to go. Something else to keep in mind, it's a good idea to take any extra weight and any extra junk you have out of your car. So I just removed the panel that covers all this, and I'm gonna pull the spare tire out now as well. We don't need that. Now, it's not just extra weight I'm talking about when I'm saying remove junk from your car. I mean the water bottles, the receipts, the trash, the whatever. Anything that may end up flying around while you're out on track that could be a distraction, you definitely want to clear out. That includes your glove box too. If you have a bunch of junk that's going to be sliding around back and forth, pull it out. This is a good time to clean your car out because you don't want any extra junk or distractions while you're out on the track. Well, now I can confidently say the car is ready to go. I also put my helmet in there, some jack stands, and the chair. Next, I'm gonna get a little tool bag ready. I'm not gonna put all my tools in there because I may still need them between now and then, but I'm just gonna put some of the basic stuffs in. Again, less to think about when it comes time to actually get to the track. Because I know that morning of, I'm gonna be scrambling and doing a bunch of other stuff, and it will be really easy to overlook some tool that I'll end up needing. So I'd rather just do it now. And worst case, if I do need it tomorrow, I can just go in the little tool bag and grab it. Real quick run through on some tools and other things. Zip ties, always important. Flashlight, you're for sure gonna need it. Sockets of all sizes that I know I'll need. Something to cut things with. Wrenches, and again, just the sizes I'm gonna need. flathead and a Phillips screwdriver, a hammer if you need it, my impact because I'm going to use it for everything, electrical tape, a few different extensions, as well as a little swivel head, ratchet, big breaker bar, needle nose pliers, and channel locks. Really, I know I can fix almost anything on this car worth fixing with just those tools. If it requires more than those tools, it's probably not a job I want to do at the track anyways. But really, like I said, those should get me through just about anything. So I'm going to toss those in a little tool bag that I have and call that good. Again, the day before the track or maybe the morning of, I'll do another quick once over and toss any extra things in that I think I might need. Like I actually see a box of gloves over here. Great idea to bring some gloves. It's really annoying if you're fixing a car in the sand, in the dirt, you've got oil on your hands. You fix it and then you're at the track. There's not a great place to clean your hands or anything like that. And then you end up driving, and I have a nice steering wheel in that car. I don't want to get it all gross. And with that, I think we covered everything, at least everything in the basics. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different than what I normally do. I hope it was insightful. I hope you learned something. Drop a comment down below. I am curious if you guys like this. Like I said, I'm thinking of making a series of the basics of a lot of different things. This was kind of a test run because I had to do it anyways, so I figured why not film it and make a little video out of it. So if you enjoyed it and you want to see more of this series, let me know. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.